Hello, we are now going to see how to create some fog volumes very quickly and very easily. I'm actually going to build a scene with a Smilodon character that I have here. And okay, let's start. First, we may have different approach to create fog volumes. One is to actually create a primitive. We create a cube with 64 divisions, and well, this is because we actually want to have, we need to have a primitive which has some geometry in it. We can't make a cube made of only 6 faces because that would not produce a nice result. I'm going to increase the scale to 500% so that it basically will encompass my saber tooth. And yeah, it's like this is all right. Maybe one thing I can do, but I can also do this later. I can center a bit the cube here, and I'm gonna create the volume. This is very simple. You just run the script with these settings. They are pretty much the default settings, and what I changed is basically I want to make a contained volume. That's right. Or I'm going to select to convert only the selected node, which is the cube, but otherwise going to volumize also the cat. And I'm going to I have set the intensity to 88.84 so that we get some some noise map into the volume. And that's it. I'm going to run this, and we will catch in a couple of minutes. Okay, so the volume creation took about 10 minutes, and the reason for it is that basically we used a cube of 5 meters for each side. So with a voxel size of 1 centimeters, that led to have about 125 million voxels, which is quite a fair amount of geometry to be calculated. And well, let's see how things turned out. And I'm going to hide the primitive cube and turn on the iRay preview. And by the way, we will check in a minute also the file size for this volume, which I guess will be quite large. Let me see if we can already check that out. And oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, we have already an update to mesh to volume. It is now version 1.1. It was released the 19th May 2022. And yeah, just read the notes to see what are the news in it. And one cool option is that I added is the vertical blend, which you can see in action here, because as you see, the fog volume density and transparency basically smooths out as the height increase. So the vertical blend is what I set to 1 in this example, so that the volume would get transparent as the height increased. Let's go to the VDB folder, and well, as you can see, yeah, the volume is quite large. It's 487 megabytes, and probably there was no need to set the voxel size to 1. We could probably have gone also with a value of 5 or 10, but anyway, it is done now. And as you can see, it's yeah, you see all the noise map values which have been used as input into the volume. It's very dense, so I'm gonna first decrease the density to maybe 0.05, and this is already better. And yeah, I can still see the saber tooth, so it must be there, right? Yeah, it is there, but it can be seen. So let's decrease the density even more. And there it is. So if I move to the camera. All right, so of course we need also to adjust the lighting here, because right now, you know, the scene is so bright that yeah, it just looks more like smoke, some smoke. I like very much to use the HDR made by Polyheaven. I'll show you the link in a second. Before that, I'm gonna change this to tone and scene. And yeah, I already have an environment map used here. And as I was saying, this is the link, polyheaven.com. They have also textures and HDR for free that you can use in your projects. The one that I use it here is called, let me see, Copenhagen 04. So if you want to use that, or they have so many here that this is the one that I used, but they have so many, as I was saying, that you can really go wild and experiment with this. All right, so basically this is the setup with this kind of volume that we created. The nice thing of this volume is that it extends also vertically, so it just, if you get close with the camera, it fills all the view. And one thing that I also like to do is also going to render settings and enable the ground fog, and that allows you to hide the background a little bit, because without this atmospheric fog on, you probably see too much of the HDR backplate. So this is a way to do things. You can also set the albedo for the ground fog to something different, so you can actually see some transition, and maybe while you are there also increase or decrease the density for the volume fog. It's up to you. Okay, let's go for a different approach. Yeah, actually it's very similar. So we are still going to create a cube of 1 meter offside, and I'm gonna still scale this to 500%, but this time only on the X and Z axis, and maybe I'm gonna put it a bit on the center like this, and then I'm going to run again the script with the same settings. Okay, I'm not going to touch any other option. This should compute much faster, because as I said in the first case, we were producing millions of voxels, and now we should have a more fairly reasonable amount of voxels. So probably this is gonna take maybe 30-40 seconds. Okay, here we are, and going to hide the cube primitive, and let's see our volume in action. So okay, So you see also in this case with um, the vertical blend option, basically the volume density is getting is aiming to 0 the more the height increases. Sorry, I personally prefer this approach more than the one we did before because it's faster. You need less computer resources, and well, maybe if you calibrate this correctly, maybe I could have done probably the volume a little bit higher. I can still maybe scale it a little bit more on the y-axis. Okay, that's also cool. And yeah, as I said, I think I prefer this approach more. And yeah, I'm going to reduce the volume density because this is too high, of course. And I guess that's it. We have some nice fog making the sabertooth more interesting, right? And as I did before, I could enable the ground fog again, so this scene gets even more believable, perhaps a little bit more foggy than we used to have. And of course it's up to you to, as I said before, also to play with the density of the fog volume, maybe also change the colors a little bit to your liking, and yeah, that's up to you. You see, when I set the scattering multiplier with a darker value, of course the fog seems to smooth down, and yeah, that's it. We have a nice fog volume that you can use with your renders. And at the end I decided to attach the Smilodon wearable preset for the fur and run the render. So in a couple of minutes here is the result, and believe me when I tell you that with the fog volume the character really stands out even more, even if it's partly occluded by the fog volume, but in my opinion it's really more interesting. So have fun, and if you need help or you need to ask questions about this product, you can find my email in the forum post or my Facebook page. Alright, see you later with more tutorials. Bye.